It's June 2nd, Friday morning, 5:30 at West End Gun Club. I'm here early this Friday morning to get some rounds downrange before I go to the office. Wanted to do some test loads that I made up, trying to get some data collected with some various primers and to do an actual 10-shot chronograph test, because 5-shot groups that I shot at the last range vlog are fine, but sometimes you want a little bit more of a sampling to get a better indicator of the chronograph data, at least for averages and standard deviation and extreme spread. So that's why I'm out here this morning. And it's Friday morning. There was one guy here who has actually left. I think he's a regular. He shoots right before the crack of dawn, and he uses flashlights and stuff, and he likes to shoot before everyone else shows up, which is, it's a good idea. But so I'm currently the only person here on the main firing line, so I should be able to get my rounds downrange without too much hassle. And so we'll see how it goes. West End Gun Club is technically a cold range for the most part, especially the main firing line. But this early in the morning on a weekday when no one's around, I usually still carry a sidearm while on the property, just because you never know who's hanging around here, might be trespassing. And until there's actual members of the club present, other members that you can trust, I reserve that right to to just have some insurance, I guess, while I'm by myself out here. So as much as I hate daylight savings time, what I do appreciate about it is the fact that the sun comes out a lot earlier. So early birds like me who like to get to the range early in the morning can get here early and start shooting quicker. Usually on standard time, sun wouldn't come out till after 6. So the fact that you can get rounds down range, the crack of dawn, just after 5 is really nice this time of year. But in SoCal, I hate daylight savings because it's just hotter longer in the day. One thing of note that I had to take care of this a couple nights ago was the fact that somehow my trigger, the AccuTrigger on the Savage, had loosened up over time, and I never realized how light it was. It was breaking under 8 ounces, but when I was doing some hard bolt closes a couple nights ago, it was tripping. Granted, the AccuTrigger has an internal safety like a Glock, so that even if the trigger falls without the center of that fin on the trigger is not actuated, then it won't. The firing pin won't fall. So that's the internal safety there. But even then, the sear was falling on hard bolt close. So I had to take the barreled action out of the stock and then readjust the trigger. So I brought it all the way back up to about 2 pounds, 2 ounces. So now it's a safer trigger at this point. So since I took the barreled action out of the stock and reinstalled it and retorqued everything down, I'm going to shoot the rest of this Hornady factory ammo I have just to make sure everything's functioning okay. So it looks like everything is functioning okay. There is some up and down stringing, but I'm guessing that's me, and it's factory ammo. So I'm gonna just go ahead and retorque everything to make sure the the barreled action is okay in the stock. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and run through my load testing. I've got 40 plus 20, so I have 60 rounds today. I'm gonna see if I can get through all 60. It's all gonna be 4350 loads with the Berger 140 grain hybrid targets. I'm really looking to get data on 42 grains because I think that's the node that I wanna stick with. But I'm gonna test that with two different primers, the CCI BR4s and some Wolf SRMs, which are no longer imported in the country due to some restrictions with Russian munitions and whatnot, components coming in. 42 grains, 10 each with different primers, and then negative 0.3 grains, and then plus 0.3 grains as far as 41.7 and 42.3 to see if there's any variances or any kind of skew from that node. So I know that if that's a solid load to use, because I want a load that won't fall apart if you're off by a few tenths. So that's why I wanted to load those up as well. So minus 0.3 and plus 0.3 of a grain from 42. So that first 5 rounds with Hodgdon H4350, 41.7 grains with the Berger 140 grain hybrid target, average 27.25. I'm gonna go ahead and jump to the actual node that I think I'm gonna be at. It's 42 grains. I'm gonna fire 10 rounds of that and see how that string goes. Like an idiot, I forgot to start a new series when I started this new string. So the the first 5 shots of the 42 grains are going to show up with the 41.7 grains. I started a new series now, so I'm going to have to lump all those in or do the calculations after I get back and do it by hand, just to get extreme spread, average, and standard deviation. So with a 5 shots that are actually in a new series, this is calculating it for me. The averages are 2752 feet per second, 42 grains of H4350 with the 140 Berger hybrids. It's really nice. Standard deviation 5.8, extreme spread of 15. So I'm going to shoot the 5 rounds of 42.3, which is 0.3 of a grain up, and we'll see how much this will affect the velocities and then the groups or the point of impact from the last group. So I took a quick walk downrange to take a look at the target after shooting the test loads with the CCI BR4 primers. Here's a group with 41.7. This is the 10-shot group with 42 grains. Here's a 5-shot group with 42.3. I did pull this one because the heavier trigger pull, I'm just getting used to that again. So I kind of slapped the trigger here. But essentially, the point of impacts aren't shifting at all much. So I'm liking this as far as up and down the nodes are concerned. I'm going to be content with this 42 grains right here. This 10-shot group of 42 grains of H4350 with the Berger 140 grain hybrid target looks really good. Velocity is 2750. I'm liking this node. It should be good. Again, this one I kind of pulled too. It's this side to side here, but here's the factory ammo that I was shooting. A bit of up and down, but just starting off the morning. So I'm going to go ahead and shoot the same exact loads that I shot the last 20 rounds. I have 20 more rounds with 41.7, 42, and 42.3, but using the Wolf SRM. The reason why I want to check the Wolf SRM, even though I can't get them anymore, is because I have about 6,000 of those things left. Because I bought 2 cases of those when I was still shooting service rifle, and I was going to switch to those back when I was still shooting service rifle, but I never got around to it because I just stopped shooting service rifles. So I have all these SRM primers still left over. So I'd like to see if they still, how they compare to the BR4s in this gun, and if they shoot okay or they shoot the same, then I'll use them as a substitute, because I'm out of BR4s actually, so I need to get more BR4s if I want to keep using those. So I made sure to start a new series this time on the Lab Radar. Again, any issues with the Lab Radar, a lot of it is, aside from operational issues, if you're having like trouble understanding the system or whatnot, it's just mainly user error. Just gotta remember and be aware of what mode you're in on the Lab Radar, what menu system you're in. I mean, it is a little bit daunting because of the way they designed it, but it's pretty optimal. I mean, it's pretty good as far as a user interface is concerned in such a I guess refined unit without drawing too much battery. So you just got to be, as an owner, you just got to be aware of what you're doing with the Lab Radar at all times to make sure that you're maximizing your efficiency with it. So now we're shooting the Wolf SRMs. The Russian primers actually got a lot of good word of mouth. And in general, I found them to be good primers in the AR-15. But a lot of match shooters or competitive shooters using match rifles went to using the Russian primers back in the mid-2000s due to the consistencies. But unfortunately, as I said earlier, they don't import them anymore. So the average of 42 grains of 4350 with a Wolf SRM is pretty much the same as with a CCI BR4. It's 2751 feet per second versus 2752. Granted, this is with a 10-shot string. The one I actually had it calculated for me was a 5-shot because I accidentally shot the first 5 rounds into the other string. So it looks good, at least on chrono. The group though is a lot more up and down, but I'm guessing that was me because I saw my reticle fall a lot of times due to the way I'm riding this bag. Obviously, it's not the most optimal setup for group testing, but I will admit that. So I fired all my test loads with H4350 on the 42 grain node with the different primers. I'm going to go ahead and switch out really quickly to some Hornady once fired that I reloaded. I want to see how well these compare, considering that the reloaded prime ammo brass did not perform well at all. So I loaded these, I think I loaded these with the same, so I loaded 10 of 42 grains. So I loaded 5 with 41.5, 10 with 42, and 5 with 42.3. So I'm going to run through this really quickly to see how this goes as far as at least chrono data, and see how the groups look. At least compared to prime ammo brass. And this is Hornady once fired with CCR BR4s. So here's the Wolf SRMs. Again, here the point of impact shift compared to the 41.7 on the CCBR4s isn't bad. This group opened up with 42 grains of the BRMs. This is definitely over an inch. I don't know. I definitely yanked this one. I know for a fact because I saw the reticle fall when I was pulling the trigger. So this is good. 42.3. I think this is kind of a false positive here as far as how large this group is, but it is a 10-shot group. So I'm good with the BRMs. I think the Wolf SRMs, they should shoot fine comparatively speaking. I'm gonna load both CCI BR4s and the BRMs with 42 grains for this gun and see if they shoot the same. They just shoot it over time. Now, as far as the Hornady brass is concerned, this is 41.5, which is okay. I know I pulled this one because I saw the reticle fall when I was pulling the trigger. This is 42 grains, which is terrible. I'm not sure what was happening here. And then here's a blind group that I shot with 42.3. I basically cranked up 1 full mil and I aimed at this to shoot this group, and there's a lot of side to side here. So that being said, not sure what to make of the Hornady brass, but definitely content with the Lapua Brass. I think Lapua Brass is the best brass. That's why I use it for all my match stuff, especially even the AR. When I was shooting a service rifle, I would shoot the Lapua Brass at the 600-yard line with 80 grain VLDs. I mean, that was my accuracy load for 600. So as you can see, the sun's starting to creep out. It was bright enough at 5 o'clock to shoot, but it's a nice beautiful day, no wind. From what I understand, the wind should kick in around noon today, but there was that nice marine layer this morning, which if that's present, that means there's no wind. It's just before 7, so I'm packing up this morning. I need to go home, ditch all my crap, and get to work or get to the office. When I cut this range vlog, I think one of the segments I didn't have my microphone on, so I'm gonna have to, probably gonna have some sync issues on one segment, and I forgot to use continuous autofocus when I went out there for one of the last segments, so one of those segments is gonna be out of focus. But trying to use my, for those who don't know, I'm trying to use my Olympus OMD EM1 Mark II for my vlogging camera now. I'm trying to use my Micro Four Thirds exclusively because I just don't want to carry my Canon 5D Mark III anymore and the EOS M. So if I can use my Micro Four Thirds system, I will. So that's why there are some nuances with the vlog in the past few episodes or whatever. It's because I've been trying to mess around with, because I'm just getting used to running and gunning with with those cameras. And the mini system, I've been using the Micro Four Thirds for some time now, over a year and a half, but even then for video I'm just still getting used to how that works. It's 6:50, so I'm just gonna hurry up and get the rest of my stuff packed up into the truck. Not sure we're gonna shoot again. The long range match at Pendleton was actually canceled for this weekend. But there's also an issue with the fact that Camp Pendleton is now regulating, they're enforcing some rules on cartridges. So even the long range, the 1,000-yard range, the range 117, we can't use anything but 223 762 or 223 556, 762 308, and 300 Win Mag on that range. So it kind of kills it, because while I do have 308, I wanted to shoot my 6.5 Creedmoor there at 600 and 1000 so I can get a 0 for it. So right now I'm actually looking at another range, because West End Gun Club, we don't have a 600 here. And so I'm probably gonna head up to Desert Marksman out in Lancaster. I've been looking at that range. They have a 600 that you can use during the regular days. You just have to use your own steel. So I'm looking into that, and so I might be exploring a new range in the future range vlogs. We'll see. Or I might go up to the Paula range near the Paula Casino. They don't let you set targets out there, but they have a lot of steel targets set up at various distances, ranging out to like 800 yards. So that might be an option for me. We'll see. Anyway, today is June 2nd, Friday. I'm at the West End Gun Club, about to leave. That's it for today's range vlog. And of course, I forgot to set my radar, so that first shot didn't detect.